Israel's Prime Minister has spoken over the phone to the US President-elect about the need to complete the victory in the Middle East. Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump discussed the developments in Syria and progress of a potential deal to release hostages held in Gaza. Mr Netanyahu says Israel has no interest in a conflict in Syria, claiming the IDF's actions are aimed at thwarting potential threats and preventing terror groups from taking control near the border.
I discussed all of this again last night with my friend, US President-elect Donald Trump. It was a very friendly, very warm and very important conversation. We talked about the need to complete Israel's victory, and we also talked at length about the efforts we are making to free our hostages.
Joe, Siracusa are always one of my favourite times of the week talking to you, Joe. So, Mr Netanyahu has got a very good point because there is a power vacuum happening right now in Syria, and we've seen this movie before where terror groups do emerge.
Yes, they do, Pete. Good morning. Look, Netanyahu is having a very good week, and so is the United States. The defeat of Assad, his disappearance or retreat to Moscow, of course, is a victory for the United States and Israeli diplomacy. Israel will remain the hegemon in the area, that is the leading force. And, this kind of chaos in Syria is oxygen to Netanyahu, who's facing his own troubles at home. So, of course, he took advantage of the opportunity to finish off or to sink the Syrian Navy. He destroyed the Air Force yesterday, and he's going after military dumps today because he doesn't want any extremist groups in Syria to attack Israel. And also, he took a buffer zone in front of the buffer zone in the Golan Heights to make sure that no one attacks them there. So, they're having a very good time. And this relationship between Netanyahu and Trump, this is one of the great bromances of modern politics. These guys are in each other's pockets, and Netanyahu can do what he wants. But I'm sure President Trump is going to make sure that Netanyahu sort of cools it, because Netanyahu now has had, 1 year to do what he wants to do, and the Biden administration wasn't able to get into the conversation. I think Netanyahu will listen to Trump.
Yeah, that was going to be, I feel like he's going to be right. I think Donald Trump is going to help end the two wars that are taking place right now. And as we've spoken in the past, when it comes to Ukraine, I have a feeling that it's going to end on the current lines. It seems like it's going to be the only logical outcome. And I think, let's get your view on this, Joe, that Donald Trump helps bring an end to this war between Israel and Gaza. Because basically, like you said there, I feel like Benjamin Netanyahu would rather give Donald Trump the win rather than Joe Biden.
Oh, yeah, Biden and Netanyahu actually had nothing to say to each other. That was quite obvious. Look, President Trump, whether you like him or not, is not everybody's cup of tea. He wants to bring peace to these areas because it allows him to play his game, and that is the United States and now America's allies prosper from prosperity, not from conflict and the rest of it. And you're right, Ukraine will close down. That is, the war will close down, and the president will use his diplomatic muscle and economic muscle to do so. And of course, in Israel, the United States is going to have to figure out what happens next. Pete, I understand that a couple of years ago, President Trump was talking about maybe that Gaza could have become a Singapore of the Middle East, and that it'd be a great place. His son said that it was well placed for resorts and golf courses. And so that's how Trump thinks, He looks at a conflict zone and says, oh, gee, how can we make this a pretty place? Let's do something else here. So I think in that sense, it's got a very positive outcome.
Yeah, better than the alternative. Good to see you, Joe. Thank you as always.
Okay.